we're on our way to Boyalali to see Ob Supri, who's not been very well and he's moved there. And Boyalali is quite close to Merapi, which has been erupting, so you can just about see Merapi and the effects of the eruptions there. Now the other night, there's a good one there, maybe you can catch it, I don't know. The other night I had very bad asthma, and that was due to the soil or the rocks in the air as a result of the eruption. Also that day, I mean it's rained since, it's cooled down nicely, but that day it was incredibly hot, thanks to the warmth being kept on the earth. So yeah, I'm probably going to be troubled again because we're going closer to Merapi. But it is a lovely fine day today, so maybe I'll be all right. Maybe that's a better view of Merapi. So you can hear Pasorio speaking in the background. Here he is. Pasorio's the driver we've used for about 13 years, particularly for longer distances. He used to be a taxi driver from Jogja Airport, from the old airport. So we've used him about 13 years, particularly when we go to Jogja. He has taken us to Jakarta once. For local journeys we have local people, but anything a bit further, and we always use Pasorio. And as I say, we're going to see Om Supri. Om Supri was in the Marines for many years and lived in Pajaiten in Jakarta, but he's had a stroke, and so he's moved to his the house that used to did belong to the wife's parents. They both died now, in Boyalali, so he's moved there. I don't know if it's permanent or simply to recover. I guess we'll find out now. But strangely, after he left the Marines, Om used to take me to play. Well, we used to use him as a driver around Jakarta, and certainly for very long distances, when we were travelling the length of Java looking for Dukan to help my wife, he was always the person who took us. So I'm not sure if, well, they probably have met, Om Supri and Pasorio, they probably have met. But yeah, this is Pasorio who's taking us there. So here we are in the town of Boyalali, known as Kota Susu, meaning milk town or milk city, on account of all the cows, or the milk cows, that they have here. I assume they also have plenty of dairies. I've got to admit though that we're more than a little bit lost, because Om Supri lives quite a distance to the north on less than main roads. So whilst we know where he lives and we know where we are, we don't know how to get between the two. And so we're listening to Google Maps, which isn't very reliable in Indonesia, but anyway, we are where we are. Now you might say, well, why don't we ask a policeman? Isn't the sort of thing one does in Indonesia. But it just so happens that Om, who, as I say, was a Marine, all his brothers are the mainstay of the local police force. So if we were to find a police officer, we'd probably get an official escort all the way to his house. Nevertheless, finding one might be the issue. So you can see the paddy is quite extensive here. Of course, the water is retained up here, unlike where we live, which is karst. So we've got here at last. At last we've got here. Yeah, we're here. So we eventually got to Supri's house. Needless to say, once we arrived, we were told we'd gone the wrong way. I think that's typical the world over, but it's particularly something that happens in Indonesia. So we've got a better way of going back, because it took us about 2.5 hours. So this is a house that belonged to the wife's mother and father, who I did meet. They're very nice people, in fact. So this is it. So here's Pasorio, our regular driver. And Pasorio's a little bit younger than me, and Supri is in between the two of us. But Pasorio's not been well. He's largely retired now. And we'll go inside and see Supri. As I say, he was in the Marines for years, but he has had a stroke, but he's had diabetes, and that's led to Parkinson's. So this very, very strong man is now something of a shadow of his former self. But he's here, you know, you can see he's still active. It's a shame, really.